Hello everyone, welcome back. In this video, I'll be showing you how to use drag and drop in JavaScript. So we have six Dropbox here and we have an image here. So I can drag this image and drop it on any of the box. Notice that when I hover on any of the box, there's this red border. We are going to be adding this with our JavaScript. So I can drop in any of the box. So this is what we'll be building, guys. I hope you enjoyed this and let's get started. So now we're going to start writing this project. I'm going to come over here and create my HTML file, and I'm going to create a file for my CSS, and I'm also going to create my JavaScript file. I'll put down my boilerplate and I'm going to change the title to drag and drop. And for the body, we are going to have an image tag, and I'm going to set the source to this image I have in the same directory with my file. And there's an attribute called draggable. So I'm going to set draggable and I'm going to set it to true. Now, it is important for you to add this attribute and set to true. If not, you'll not be able to drag the element. So if you want an element to be draggable, you have to add the draggable attribute and set it to true. So I'm going to give it an ID and I'm going to set the name of the ID to be draggable image. Next, I'm going to create a div and I'm going to give it an ID of drop boxes container. Uh, yeah, let's just call it that, drop boxes container. And inside this drop boxes container, we're going to have different div, and each div is going to have the class of Dropbox, and an ID of drop zone. So I'm just going to copy this 5 times more, so we have 6. Now this is all for our HTML. I'm going to go into my CSS file. I'm going to start by getting rid of the default styling to margin. I'm going to set margin to 0, padding to 0, and box sizing. I'm going to set to border box. And I'm going to start by giving the body a background image. So I'm going to target the body element and I'm going to set the background image. I'm going to say background, and I want the URL to be this image we have here. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste. Now I want no repeat and I'm going to set it to center horizontally. So let's move to the image. I'm going to target the image and I want the width and the height to be 100%. Save, and I'm going to take the Dropboxes container and I'm going to set the display to flex. I'm going to give it a gap of 2 rem. I'm also going to add padding 2 rem. Then I'll set the top position to 0, and then v index, I'm going to set v index to 1, and I'm going to set the width to 100%. Then I'm just going to add position over here, and position will be fixed. So for each Dropbox, I'm going to target it with the class of Dropbox we gave to it in our HTML, and I'm going to set the width to be 200 pixel, height going to be 200 pixel also, and I'm going to set the background color to, I'm just going to do black, which is 00, and I'm going to use the class. I'm just going to add this class. We are going to be adding it to our JavaScript, but I'll put it here in our CSS. So drag over, and I'm just going to add border. So this class, this is what we used to be to add the border to each box when we drag over. So I'm going to add border, and I'm going to set it to solid 2 pixel, and I want red, which is um no, this is white. What's the X value for red? Let's just do red and save. So I'm just going to open this with live server so we see what we have. What are we missing? Dropbox is container. Oh, we have to link we have to link our CSS. So, and let's also link our JavaScript and save. Let's check our browser again. Yeah, so this is what we have. So now we're going to move to our JavaScript. So I'm going to start by defining a variable, and I'm going to call this draggable image, and I'm going to set it to document dot query selector to get the elements from our from the DOM, and I'm going to set this, it has an ID of draggable image, and I'm going to have another variable, and I'm going to call it all Dropbox. So this is all the Dropbox we have, and I'm going to use query selector all to select all of them. Document dot query selector all, and that each Dropbox have a class of Dropbox. So we're going to start adding our event. So I'll start by adding a drag event to the draggable image. This should be img. So I'll say draggable image dot add event listener, and we're going to listen for a drag event, and I'm just going to put in an arrow function here. I'll pass in my event object, and what do we want to do? So in this drag event, when we drag the image, um, we want to store the target, which is the element that we dragged, into a variable, so we can be able to append it to the box when we drop. So I'm going to say let dragged. I'm just going to set this to dragged. Let's say dragged image, and I'm going to set it to null. Then inside the drag event, when this event fires off, I'm going to start by preventing the default. Now, it's important for you to prevent default, because when you drag a file into the browser is going to load the file. So to prevent that default behavior, I'm going to call event.prevent prevent default method. And after that method, I'm going to set the dragged image to event dot target, which is the element the event will fire on, which is the image element. So now I'm going to start by adding um, a drag over event on all of these boxes. So to do that, we are going to loop through these boxes. So we can use for each because this is a node list. So we can use for each to loop through it. So I'm going to say all dropbox dot for each, and for each box I'm going to say for each dropbox, what do we want? For each dropbox we want to loop through all and add an event listener. So we're going to add an event listener, and we are going to listen for drag over event. I'm just going to put in an arrow function here, and when this event fires off, we also want to pass in the event object. We want to prevent default. Now, without the drag over event, you'll not be able to drop the dragged item on the Dropbox, and I'm going to show you. So I'm going to prevent default. So event.prevent default, and for now I'm just going to say yeah. So what we want to do when we drag over, we want to add this class of drag over we have here. So I'm going to say event dot target dot class list. So we're going to use class list, and we're going to call the add method, and we're going to add the class of drag over. Let's save and test if this function is working. So I'm going to come to my browser. um yeah, cannot read, we're having an error here. To script.jx line draggable image dot add event listener. Oh, this should be dragged. So dragged image, we want the dragged image. Yeah. Oh, oh, we are using the wrong id here, so this should be draggable. So draggable image. I think that's the reason why we are having this error here. Yeah, so we no longer have the error, so let's try it out. So I'm going to drag, and you see when I hover, if I drop now, it's not going to work because we don't have the drop event. So let's go to our JavaScript and add the drop event. So I'm just going to copy this because we're also going to loop through all the boxes, and I'm going to change this to drop. So, but when the drop event fires off, we want to remove this class of drag over. So what do we want to do when this drag event drop event fires off? We want to drop the image on the box. So what I'm going to do, we have to check um if the drop box is if we are dropping it in the right item, we are dropping the dragged element in the right drop box. So we want to make sure that it's a valid drop box. To do that, we are going to use the id. So we are going to check if the Dropbox has this ID of drop zone. We are not going to use the class. If you use the class, it's going to fire on only the first element. So that's why I added an ID of drop zone to all of them. So we are going to do an if statement here, and I'm going to say if event dot target dot id. So we're going to check for the id, and we're going to check if it is equal to drop zone. So if it is equal to drop zone, what do we want to do? We want to drop the image. So we're going to take this drag image that we are assigning this dragged image variable. Remember, we are assigning this dragged image element to it inside the drag function. So I'm going to say event dot target dot append child. So we're going to append child, and we're going to pass in dragged image, and I'm going to move this. So let's move this inside here. Let's save and let's try this if it's going to work. So I'm going to click on the image, drag it and drop it. So you see it's working. But you notice that um, this border here is kind of stained when we drop the image and we want it to leave. So what we are going to do, we are going to add the mouse, not mouse leave, drag leave event. So I'm going to come over here, and just after the drag over event, I'm going to paste this, and we're going to change this to drag leave. So this event is going to fire off when um, you drag when an element that is dragged leaves a valid drop box. That's when that event is going to fire off. So I'm going to come over here, and I just want to remove, instead of adding the class, I want to remove and save. So let's try it one more time. So if I drag, so you see it's working perfectly. Now I want to show you why this drag over event is very important. So I'll start by commenting this drag over function, because I know if you go to MDN documentation and you want to implement drag and drop, you are going to think that if you use just this drop event, just the drag and the drop event is going to work. No, without the drag over event, it's not going to work. So let's save this and try. So if I drag now, so you see it's already giving us a warning sign. It's not going to work. And if I save back and try now, you see it's going to work. So this drag over function, this is what makes um, the drop event to work. And if I comment this, if I should remove this event dot prevent default from all of them, everything is going to work perfectly. So you see it's working. But let's come over here and remove this event default from the drag over event and save. Let's just refresh the browser. You see it's not going to work anymore. So you want to take note of that. I'm just going to revert all my changes, save. And one last thing I want to show you. So when we drop the elements, when the image element drop on the Dropbox, I want to log the event object. So I'm going to say clg event. I'm going to console.log event, and let's see what we have. I just want to show you one last thing. So I'm going to drop this. So you see we have this drag event object here, and if I toggle this object, we come to this data transfer, you are going to see 5. Now the 5, you will not be able to access it directly from like this. So if you do like this, you are not just going to see anything. I don't know. I think that's the problem with Chrome. If you toggle the files, you see it's showing length of 0, but we actually uh there's something in it. So what we are going to do, I'm going to log event dot. So I'm going to say let's look at the order one more time. Data transfer, and I'm going to log the 5. So we have data transfer dot 5. Let's just wait for the browser to refresh, and I'm going to drop it. So you see we have file length 1, and you see the name of the file. So just like this, you can get the name of the file, and if you want to upload this to a server, you want to implement drag and drop on your website where you can drag a file and upload to a server or do something with it inside your front-end application, you can actually use this to implement it. So that's all for this video, guys. I hope you like this, and I'm going to see you next time in another video. Now before you close this video, I want you to do one thing for me. I want you to share this video, leave a like. If you have anything to say, drop your thoughts on the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.